What is wrong with me? Why do I care about this? Hey BookTube, it's Kim at Middle of the Book March, and today I have another installment of True Confessions. This one has to do with electronic reading, and I'm grouping e-reading with ebooks and audio reading in the same video because I consider them all electronic reading. I have been so grumpy about my experiences lately with audiobooks and with ebooks. And I'm not exactly sure why. I have theories, and I've looked up, other people that don't like reading on e-readers and people that don't like audiobooks. Years ago, when the e-readers first came out, I was one of my last members of my book group that bought an e-reader, and I happened to buy a Kindle. I was one of the last ones, and then when I bought it, I kind of overcompensated. So I was reading everything on my Kindle, and I thought this was awesome, and kind of a technological advancement, and you could have hundreds and thousands of books on your e-reader. So I thought this is awesome. But the novelty wore off quickly, and I started to kind of get sick of my Kindle and my ebooks, and I was getting impatient, and I think that's the best word to describe how I've been feeling lately with ebooks and audiobooks. Very impatient. The majority of books I DNF are either audiobooks or ebooks. The audiobooks, to me, I'm not that fond of listening to fiction, especially if it's contemporary fiction. Classics I like listening to as long as the narrator is excellent. Juliet Stevenson, I will listen to anything she narrates. But I can't really easily listen to fiction because my mind just wanders and I don't pay attention. When I listen to nonfiction, which is far more successful, I need a really good narrator. I need somebody with some liveliness in their voice, and I need somebody that hits the sentences with the right tones and is imparting the information in a clear, concise way. But I have started to listen to so many audiobooks that, in my opinion, have just sucked, whether it's the content or the narrator. A bad narrator is death to an audiobook. And so I get so impatient, and I don't buy audiobooks at full price. So I buy, audio deals, or I check out audiobooks from my library. But I have removed, DNF'd, X'd out so many audiobooks. So I have a very small audio library of things that I keep going back to because I know I can rely on them. So that makes me grumpy. Now, ebooks. I have the Kindle app on my phone, and I also have a Kindle Paperwhite, which is my preferred way to read ebooks, but I tend to read a lot of them at work where I always have my phone. So if I take a break or if I wander off or whatever, I can bring my phone with me and I can read for 5 minutes. Again, I am really not happy with that experience. I think it's the reading experience in general. The Kindle books, one of my biggest complaints is you can't tell how far to the end of the book you're at. So when I'm reading a physical book, you can tell how far you have to go till the end. And there's a certain sense of accomplishment to that. There's a certain sense of closure when you can see the end of your book. I have read so many Kindle books, and at the bottom you can adjust if you see a page count or the number of minutes or the percentage left, and I play around with that all the time. But I can't tell you the number of Kindle books where the page number is off and it doesn't correspond to the physical book. So if I'm reading a Kindle book that has 280 pages, if I get to 268 and then the book is done, Kindle has counted all of the blank pages and the afterwords, and if there's an acknowledgement page, and it's like, wait a minute, I'm done? That doesn't make sense. And so that experience to me is a negative one. I really hate that. What's the biggest reason I don't like electronic reading? Here's where I'm gonna say, I have a lot of advantages over people who choose to read electronic books for however other many reasons, whether it's physical disability or a medical condition or an issue with pain or if it's blindness. There are so many reasons why people choose audiobooks and ebooks, because sometimes they're physically easier. And I have advantages that I can choose to read a book on paper. And so there are so many options out there. My aunt actually contacted me a little while ago and told me that I forget the organization, but there's an organization out there that gives free audiobooks to people who are legally blind or the elderly, and she started taking advantage of that. And so we were talking about that, and I thought it's awesome for her because she's really loving it. But my first best loved format is physical books. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to quickly show you why. And what I've determined is the book as an object matters to me, and not in a superficial way. Like I said earlier, there's a sense of accomplishment and a sense of closure. And I love having the book in my hands. It's visceral. It's a physical, visceral feeling to hold the book, to turn the pages. I can pick it up at any time. I don't need power. I don't need light. I don't need to worry about if my battery is low. I don't need to worry about access online for audiobooks. I don't need to worry about an app going down or falling apart. And the only thing I worry about when I read a physical book is maybe my bookmark falls out and I have to flip the pages to get my page back. Oh well. But I wanted to quickly show you some books as objects that I really loved and that matter to me when I look at them on my shelves. This one is Tangerine by Christine Mangan. And fun fact about me, green is my least favorite color. It's fine. I don't hate it or anything. But this book was recommended to me by my local librarian, and I checked it out of the library and started reading it that way, the hard copy, and I started to love it, and I said, I want to buy my own copy, so I did. And the font is in this kind of neon green, and the spine has the same neon green along with this kind of teal blue and black design. And the photograph on the front is just extraordinary. And so this book as an object actually makes me happy because I can see that spine on my bookshelf, and it kind of brings back the actual memory of the reading experience, that I went to the library, that I really enjoyed it so much I bought my own copy. I finished reading my copy when I finished the book. And so it brings kind of happiness to that. This one I checked out at the library, Tin Man by Sarah Winman. And it was this hardcover copy, but it had the library Mylar cover on it, and it was super shiny. This has foil design with the sunflowers. Again, it's this interesting green color. But I checked it out of the library, started reading it, and I loved this book. And at the time, I was considering stealing the book from the library because I loved the cover, and it was crinkly and shiny. And I convinced myself, no, I have the resources where I can go and buy myself a physical copy, so that's what I did. But this is a gorgeous book. It's just the colors and the design, the formatting. That's the inside naked hardback. And the sunflowers mean something. So it means something to the story, and I love that connection. This one I showed you so many times, The Illumination of Ursula Flight. It's one of the most beautiful books I own, and I'm not even going to show you everything about it. I've done that so many times, but I love the story, and I absolutely loved this physical book. Just the beauty and the artwork of it, but the content and the different formats that the text is written in, the storyline, the plot, how the plot is driven. I loved it. And I think along with these physical copies, it's the experience of reading it for me that really, really gets me. I'm going to show you a few more. This one, Now in November by Josephine Johnson. I know several people with different covers of this book. This picture, again, directly corresponds to the context of the story and its perfection of what this means. This is, again, a gorgeous book, 5 stars, one of my favorites. Early Pulitzer Prize winning book. This was her debut, and she won in 1934 or 1935. It's just an immaculate book, and this picture is important. Again, another one Milkman by Anna Burns, one of my favorite books of 2019. The pink means something. This picture means something to the story. And this was another one that I checked out from the library. It was the paperback with the sticky cover on it. I loved it and went and bought myself a copy. I actually had to ask the library to buy a copy because I started reading the sample and I just knew I was going to love it. So the library ordered a copy for me, which I started to read. I returned it and I bought myself my own paper copy. And who could forget this one, The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. This is my Penguin classic, which I love, and it's this massive brick of a book. I considered reading this electronically because of its length, but I realized no, that it ruined the reading experience for me. And there are certain books that I'm fine with reading electronically, but not a classic. A classic I might start off electronically or on audio, but if I love it, I will stop reading that way and I will buy a physical copy because it just hits me differently. This is my reading copy of Wuthering Heights. I talked about this portrait when I had my Wuthering Heights video. I love it. I love it. And I love having physical copies of classics. Last one of my favorite books of all time. And I am a middle-aged reader, so font size matters to me. But this is my beat up old used copy with stickers on it. It was a library copy. It's got the plastic over it. It was used, of Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. And this is the copy that I read. And I won't ever get rid of this book. I don't often reach for mass market paperbacks. Dog interruption yet again. So this was my favorite, and it just, this copy is valuable to me. There's no monetary value. I could probably sell this for 25 cents, but there's an emotional value to me in having this physical book. So that's my true confession. I'm getting really sick of electronic reading. I'm tempted to stop all electronic reading at least for a month to see how I feel about it. Only read my physical books, which would also make me happy because I have so many on my shelves that I want to read. I would love to hear how you feel about e-reading and audiobook listening, and tell me what your thoughts are and if you feel the same way. I have since discovered friends who feel exactly the same way as me, but they've been afraid to admit it. Thanks for watching. Write me a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.